With the situation escalating to dangerous heights, the United States, NATO, and global allies desperately attempt to establish diplomatic channels with Russia in the hope of avoiding further conflict. The urgency of the situation is palpable, as world leaders recognize the need for swift action to prevent catastrophe. World leaders make impassioned pleas for peace, urging Russia to engage in dialogue and find a resolution to the crisis that threatens global stability. They emphasize the importance of diplomacy and the devastating consequences that further military actions could have on the international community. However, despite these efforts, the Russian government remains unresponsive. Behind closed doors, they continue to strategize and expand their military operations, effectively shutting down any hope for a peaceful resolution. The silence from Russia only serves to heighten the tension, as the world watches anxiously for their next move. As the United States, NATO, and global allies struggle to find a way to communicate with Russia, the reality of the situation becomes increasingly clear. The path to peace is quickly fading, and the world braces itself for the potential of an all-out conflict that could have devastating consequences for all involved. Meanwhile, people around the globe anxiously follow the unfolding crisis, wondering what the future may hold. Calls for unity and support of diplomatic efforts flood social media as the world stands on the brink of a potentially disastrous conflict. Want to see more? You can now binge-watch all episodes of our series on our website. Get started today and explore the potential of the next world war. As Russian forces secure the nuclear missile launch sites, they are met with an unexpected obstacle. Without the proper military launch codes, the nuclear warheads are essentially useless. The U.S. military command, having anticipated such a scenario, had implemented a fail-safe measure to protect their most powerful weapons. These unique launch codes are required to initiate any nuclear launch sequence. They are known only to a select few individuals within the U.S. military command, ensuring that the weapons cannot be activated without proper authorization. Meanwhile, Russian forces scramble to bypass this security measure. They explore various options, including brute force hacking, infiltration, and even diplomatic coercion. However, the U.S. military command remains resolute in safeguarding the launch codes, understanding the potential for catastrophic consequences. As the tension between the two superpowers mounts, leaders from around the world urgently convene to discuss the situation. They recognize that the balance of power has shifted dramatically and seek to find a resolution before events spiral out of control. The 5 missile launch sites in question, now under Russian control, become the focal point of global concern. A tense standoff ensues, with the world watching anxiously as diplomacy, military strategy, and technological prowess are all put to the test. With the situation growing increasingly dire, NATO forces mobilize to retake the missile launch sites. Their primary objective: prevent the Russians from obtaining the nuclear launch codes and restoring control of these devastating weapons. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, cybersecurity experts from various countries work tirelessly to counter potential hacking attempts and maintain the integrity of the launch code systems. The digital battlefield is now just as crucial as the physical one. In this high-stakes game of nuclear chess, the players must navigate a complex web of military strategy, cyber warfare, and delicate diplomacy. Will they be able to avert catastrophe and secure a future for generations to come? As the standoff continues, panic spreads across the globe. Governments, fearing the worst, begin to implement mass evacuation plans, hoping to move their citizens out of harm's way. However, these evacuation plans quickly prove futile. The increased conflict has disrupted societies in every corner of the planet, making it nearly impossible for people to escape to safety. Transportation networks become overwhelmed, and resources are stretched thin. Food and fuel shortages become rampant, leading to civil unrest and increased crime rates. Desperate citizens begin to take matters into their own hands, trying to secure their own survival in an increasingly chaotic world. Humanitarian aid organizations, working tirelessly to alleviate the suffering, are faced with unprecedented challenges. They struggle to reach those in need, hindered by the widespread conflict, logistical nightmares, and dwindling resources. Meanwhile, world leaders and diplomats continue to search for a peaceful resolution to the crisis. They recognize that the conflict has spiraled out of control, with disastrous consequences for the global population. The increased conflict across the world is not limited to the battle for the nuclear launch sites. Clashes erupt in various regions as nations seek to protect their interests or take advantage of the chaos. This only serves to further destabilize the already precarious global situation. The ongoing conflict also takes a devastating toll on the environment. With resources dedicated to the war effort, environmental protections are abandoned, leading to rampant pollution, deforestation, and unchecked exploitation of natural resources. In the face of this overwhelming catastrophe, scientists and researchers work tirelessly to develop new technologies and strategies that might help mitigate the damage and bring some semblance of order back to the world. With the world teetering on the brink of collapse, it becomes clear that the only way to avert total disaster is for all nations to come together and find a peaceful resolution to the crisis. But is it already too late? Despite the chaos and uncertainty, there are glimmers of hope. People around the world begin to find strength in one another as they band together and forge new alliances in their fight for survival. This unity offers a ray of hope. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay informed about the latest World War III worst-case scenario episodes. Thank you for watching. To stay up to date with our latest releases, all you've got to do is follow us across our various social media platforms. We're talking Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, you name it, we're there. Thank you for watching our channel. There's a whole lot more where that came from. Interested in binge-watching all episodes today? Head over to our website to access our entire media library using the URL link in the description. Ready to test your World War II knowledge? What was the focus of the Tehran conference? Provide your answer or response in the YouTube comment box below. Stay tuned for the right answer. The answer is, the conference was focused on the Allied invasion of France. As the world struggles to adapt to the new reality of conflict and chaos, satellite intelligence begins to pick up unusual activity at the nuclear missile launch sites in Western Europe. Military analysts and governments around the world scrutinize the satellite images, trying to decipher the intentions behind the increased activity. Is this an attempt to bypass the launch code security measures, or is it something else entirely? The heightened activity at the nuclear sites raises the stakes even further. Military strategists and intelligence analysts race against time to understand the implications and develop appropriate countermeasures. World leaders, recognizing the potential for disaster, urgently convene once more to address this new development. They are acutely aware that any misstep or misunderstanding could escalate the situation even further, possibly resulting in an all-out nuclear war. In response to the increased activity at the nuclear sites, cybersecurity teams redouble their efforts to protect the launch code systems from hacking attempts. They know that maintaining the integrity of these systems is crucial to preventing a catastrophic nuclear event. Meanwhile, NATO forces and Russian forces continue to engage in tense standoffs near the nuclear missile launch sites. Both sides understand that the outcome of this conflict could reshape the geopolitical landscape for generations to come. As the world watches with bated breath, citizens around the globe continue to demand a peaceful resolution to the crisis. The prospect of a nuclear conflict looms large, and the desire for peace has never been more urgent. With the stakes higher than ever, it is now up to world leaders, military forces, and cybersecurity experts to navigate the treacherous path toward peace. Will they be able to resolve the crisis before it's too late? Amid the escalating tensions and global turmoil, a joint message is received from Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea. The content of the message is unthinkable and sends shockwaves through the international community. The message demands that the United States and its NATO allies immediately withdraw all military forces from the disputed nuclear missile launch sites in Western Europe. In exchange, the four nations promise to halt their aggressive actions and commit to peaceful negotiations. The proposal sparks intense debate among NATO member states. Some argue that this could be a unique opportunity to de-escalate the situation and avert a potential nuclear catastrophe. Others see it as a ploy, a sign of weakness from the adversaries, or even a trap designed to lure NATO forces into complacency. As the world holds its breath, people across the globe voice their opinions on the matter. Some demand their leaders seize this opportunity for peace, while others warn against trusting the adversaries and advocate for maintaining a strong military presence. Faced with this unprecedented challenge, NATO leaders engage in urgent consultations, weighing the potential risks and benefits of accepting the terms laid out in the message. The decision they make will have far-reaching consequences, not just for their nations, but for the entire world. The message is short and concise, reading, "End of war equals complete surrender of all Western forces." This ultimatum sends shockwaves through the international community, leaving governments and citizens alike reeling from its implications. The demand for total surrender doesn't just raise the stakes, it doubles them. The world now faces a critical decision: submit to the ultimatum or risk pushing the conflict to the brink of global catastrophe. The consequences of this choice will reverberate far beyond the immediate crisis, shaping international relations and the balance of power for years to come. As leaders weigh the pros and cons of surrendering, they must also consider the potential aftermath of such a decision. Would this usher in a new era of global peace, or would it merely set the stage for further conflict and manipulation? These questions add further complexity to an already daunting dilemma. Want to see more? You can now binge-watch all episodes of our series on our website. Get started today and explore the potential of the next world war. Arm yourself with the power of advanced AI for video creation, high-quality copy generation, a diverse range of freelance services, top-notch hosting options, and the ultimate online privacy protection. Don't miss out on exclusive discounts and promotions. Sign up today by clicking on the links in the description. Your journey towards creating compelling content starts now.